So last time we talked about how we plan our year in 6 to 7 week cycles, focusing on our conditioning, then moving into hypertrophy, strength, power, speed, and all that good plyometric type stuff. So today I'm going to take you through a week of a sample strength portion of a block. So sample week here, we're looking at it's actually a 9-week program just because it's a little bit different. This is our Gunfighter challenge. This is a little bit more advanced. We do have a light version, which is less advanced and pretty much anybody can jump into it and get into it fairly easy. It is a program based on triphasic training. Triphasic training is 2 to 3 weeks of eccentric focus work, and 2 to 3 weeks of isometric focus work, and then 2 to 3 weeks of concentric power explosive type work. So we'll start looking at this. We've got, starting over here, I plan everything from a train heroic standpoint, as day 1 is always a Sunday and day 7 is always a Saturday. You'll see the first thing that we focus on the weekends, both here and here. And I do recommend it every day. I think you should do some type of joint mobility, but we do have it listed on Saturday and Sunday just because guys tend to be more likely to do it on weekends. And this is kind of like a program that's a little bit more for entry level. So guys who are not familiar with our program, kind of gets them in the habit without having trying to force it every day. You get a lot of personalities that try to do everything that's on the schedule. And a lot of times that just doesn't work out on weekends. Typically on a Sunday, we'll put the educational videos so that way you can learn about what you're about to do. In this case is an isometric block. And this is some of the educational stuff you can learn about. Also on a Sunday, we're going to have some type of recovery stuff in there. Throughout the week, we're looking at isometric work on Monday and Tuesday, hard conditioning on Wednesday, and then a more max effort traditional strength on Thursday, Friday. And we'll run through those. So starting every session, I recommend doing RPR, which is reflexive performance reset. You can watch Cal's follow along video. Takes a couple minutes. I think it's about 15 minutes long. Once you learn the system and have it memorized, it only takes 60 to 90 seconds. It's super fast. If you are short on time, this is a way to condense your workout by moving that warm-up into RPR only, which will help you save time. But we do have optional warm-ups that also work on opening things up if you're just feeling awful, if you're not feeling great, if your joints are hurting, you have an optional warm-up. Typically after that, we're going to do some type of explosive work to charge up the nervous system. On lower body days, we typically like to work the spring ankle series. The spring ankle is a way to strengthen your feet and your ankles. The theory being that if your feet cannot handle the stress and the load, your body will not allow your big muscles like your quads and your hamstrings and your upper body to put in the work that you want to do. So by strengthening the foot, you're allowing your body to get as much performance as it's going to give you. All right, so after that, we're going to do warm-up for the primary exercise. Today's primary exercise on Monday is going to be a staggered stance trap bar deadlift, and this will be done in an isometric fashion. We're going with 100% of your 1RM, which sounds a little nuts, but that's just the way this thing works out. It's only 1 rep. So you are going to take that bar, unrack it, drop it like a rock, and lock it in at the bottom position for about 5 to 6 seconds, hovered above the ground. And then that's the end of that set. Then you switch feet and do the same thing. After that, you can do some explosive hops. You're then going to do some loaded jumps and then an accelerated jump, and then some recovery, rehab type neurological stuff. And that whole sequence is called the French contrast. And that is one of the primary methods within the triphasic training methodology. After that, we're going to hit some accessory work and then some hypertrophy work. One of the ways that we maintain conditioning when we're focused on other things, for example, this is a strength phase. We would then focus on strength, but we have some maintenance for cardio. Typically, your first option or two are going to be, and these are all options. As an option, if you are beat up and you're just feeling awful, generally the first option is going to be like a 15, 20, 30 minutes zone 1, zone 2. It doesn't have to be zone 2. It can be zone 1. Zone 1, I find, is actually really effective for our guys. And you can just do that and kind of flush the legs out and get everything a little bit better for your next session. The other thing I really like if you're beat up is tempo intervals. We're going to see that over here. So your tempo intervals are going to be 8 to 12 reps of 10 seconds with 60 seconds of recovery. During those 10 seconds of intense work, you're going only at 70% effort. So on an air bike, it works really well to help recover the legs a lot. If you need to recover the upper body a little bit more, you could do battle ropes or some other method like med balls. So you got those cardio options, and then you have a little bit harder cardio options. Like this is more of a green power type of thing. And then you've got some extra ones if you're looking for a little bit more athleticism. We've got Cal's contralateral circuit, and then you got some kettlebell work there if you want to get into that. The other thing you have on Tuesdays is a ruck, which we also have on weekends. Most guys typically will not get this one on Tuesday just because of time. So we have an option on Tuesday. They're both basically the same as far as loading and intensity and time. So that way, regardless of which one you get, you're going to get what you need. Tuesday, same thing as Monday. It's just that now you're going to focus on the upper body. Here we're hitting bench press at 85%. For 2 reps, drop it like a rock, hold it for 5-6 seconds. Press back up. You'll probably need partners. If you do have partners, then you can increase the load to 100%. If you do not, we found 85% or so is about what guys can maintain. Then you do that a second time and move into a speed bench press, incline dumbbell, some shrugs, and some RPR stuff. And again, accessory work, so hypertrophy work, and then cardio. Wednesdays, we're focused on hard conditioning, and this is probably the best way you can maintain. So if you're not able to hit those optional ones at the end of Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday, if you hit this Wednesday one, chances are you'll probably maintain a decent amount of conditioning. Triphasic by itself tends to stimulate the cardiovascular system in a different way because the isometric and eccentrics especially, they really just hit the vasculature, and it just has such a huge conditioning effect that you wouldn't expect. It's not because you're doing conditioning, it's just because of the vascular system is getting trained also. As we get into Thursday, Friday, now we're looking at traditional old school strength. You got 10 sets of 2 on the hex bar deadlift. There you can see your percentages. And then same thing, weighted strict pull-ups on Friday. And then you hit a little bit of hypertrophy work and then your cardio on both of those. On Saturday, we got the joint mobility, that second ruck. And then we generally put in harder conditioning. So if guys really need some extra conditioning, they can hit it on Saturday when they have more time. So that's a run through. You can see how it progresses on the runs. In week 3, we've got the 4 minutes by 6, I take back 4 sets of 6 minutes at maximum heart rate. They're absolutely awful. This is probably the worst run you will ever do. And here we're getting into a little bit more transition into typical field sports, but it's also worked great for firefighter, cops, soldiers, etc. Then we start getting into sprints like the week after. If you're interested in individual sessions and how and why we put things where we put them, just comment session below, and I will talk to you then.